a case study of conflict management, Night Safari Halloween Horrors, and the sudden cancellation of said event by the management. So shown on the screen is the overview of our presentation and the different segments that each of us are representing. My name is Dominicus, and I'll be doing the introduction of the case study. Subsequently, Kai will be doing the overall responses by the parties, and Chusing and Justin will be doing the measures to resolve conflict. Lastly, Lincoln will be doing the case analysis and preventive measures. So the Night Safari Halloween Horrors was launched in 2006 by the previous CEO, Fanny Lai. So during the time of the event, other than the usual animal exhibits, there will be actors dressed in scary costume and makeup, stationed throughout the park to bring thrill and fear to the event participants. So this event was successfully held for 5 years, from 2006 to 2010, with positive feedback from participants. It was even recognized in 2010 at the Singapore Experience Awards, winning the Most Innovative Marketing Initiative Award. So in 2011, Isabella Low was appointed the interim CEO of Wildlife Reserve Singapore, WRS. And in the same year, over 800 tickets were sold for the event, with expected earnings of up to $4 million. So the event was scheduled to run for 5 consecutive events, from 30th September to 30th October 2011. 2 weeks before the event, everything was as per normal. They held a full dress rehearsal. On 30th September, WRS continued to announce the winners of the Halloween Horror Sweepstakes contest, where the winners would be given complimentary tickets to the event. However, on the very next day, the organizer made a sudden announcement on Twitter and Facebook that the event will be cancelled. So this came as a shock and disappointment to all ticket holders, as well as to 17 Singapore Polytechnic students. These students have been involved in the event by planning and executing as part of their final year project in their diploma for project management. So shortly after, interim CEO Isabella Low explained that the decision was made because of the negative feedback that she has received from the public and the media. And she continued to explain that WRS parks should have family bonding activities instead. Subsequently, she released an official statement shown in this letter below, which is shown on screen. I'll be highlighting a few main points. So in this letter, she mentioned that the mission of WRS is to inspire an appreciation of nature through wildlife experiences, and their focus is on education, family recreation, as well as bonding. So upon reviewing Halloween Horrors, she found out that the event did not meet the said objectives. Therefore, the course of action was to cancel the event and to redirect all these resources into a celebration of more local relevance. Lastly, in the letter, she promised that WRS will honour all obligations to suppliers of goods and services in connection with the event. And lastly, she promised that she will fully reimburse all the 800 ticket holders. Thank you. Next, I'll pass on to Kai, who will touch on the overall responses by the involved parties. Kai, please.
Okay, thank you, Dom. I'm Kai, and I'll proceed with the next part of our presentation, which will focus mainly on the overall responses to the cancellation of the horror event, this Night Safari event. And basically, these responses will include responses from the SP students and lecturer, responses from the partners, the project partners, as well as responses from the public. I'll first move on to talk about the response from the SP students and lecturer. Basically, they are very buffered to learn of this sudden cancellation of the event, and some of the students were shocked, and upon hearing the news that the event will be cancelled, they actually broke down in tears. And this is because the preparation work for this month-long event has begun as early as 7 months prior to the actual event. And they have actually put in a lot of effort into this, and they felt that all the efforts have actually been wasted. And at the same time, they were also worried that their FYP grades might be affected because of this cancellation itself. But in a later interview, their lecturer, Jacqueline Ho, said that their grades will not be affected because, firstly, it's not their fault. And she also mentioned that the grades will be based on how they perform during the planning process for the event itself. And she also added that she was disappointed that Night Safari decided to cancel the event so suddenly. Next, I'll move on to talk about the response from the WRS staff. Basically, the cancellation upset the WRS staff, and some of the staff also cried as well. Basically, mainly female staff here. They also felt that all the efforts had gone down the drain, and this saga has actually caused a divide among the staff, and some were uncomfortable with how their new CEO has dealt with the entire situation, basically the sudden cancellation. And they were also unclear as to why she decided to cancel the event in such short notice, because initially she was planning to cancel the event in the following year instead, and she went on to cancel it immediately. And now I'll talk about the response from the project partners. From the financial perspective, they felt that the cancellation does not make any sense at all, because as much as up to $900,000 has already been invested for the planning stages of the event itself, and the estimated revenue for the event was estimated to be about $4 million. So they felt that it was not right to cancel it. And last but not least, I would like to talk about the response from the general public. Many of them were furious that they made the decision to cancel it 2 weeks prior to the event start date, and they criticized it as an illogical move. And they also cannot believe that this Halloween event can receive such negative feedback in a way to deem it necessary to cancel it. And while others also lamented and sympathized with the plight of the 17 SP students, and some also felt that it is unfair to cancel the Halloween event for another event, which is the Deepavali Festival. And much of the criticism were directed at Isabella Low, who made the decision to cancel the event. And as such, a Facebook petition was set up to call for the return of the event. And for the response of WRS, Chun Sing will be touching on in a little part of our presentation. And with this, I would like to pass my time to Chun Sing, who will talk about the measures to resolve the conflict. Thank you.
Thank you, Kai Kai. My name is Chun Sing. I will be talking on the measures to resolve conflict. Before I start on the measures, there's need to define what do we mean by conflict. Conflict is a struggle or contest between people with opposing needs, beliefs, values, experiences, or goals, eventually leading to opposing views. The practice of identifying conflict and handling them in a fair, sensible, and efficient manner is known as conflict management. Effective communication, problem solving, and negotiating with a focus on interests are the skills necessary for effective conflict management. There are actually 5 modes of conflict management, namely competing, collaborating, accommodating, avoiding, and compromising. Those highlighted in red represent the mode of response that are relevant in our case study. Those in black are not applicable to our case study, but there's still worth mentioning that. Avoiding simply means withdrawing conflict confrontation, physically or psychologically. Compromising is a case where each party actually sacrificed something important in order to gain an agreement. Next, I shall move on to the first mode of response approached by CEO Isabella. She uses a competing mode of response, which is defined as overcoming the other party to achieve goals. In this case, the party she overcame is actually her staff as well as the general public. Usually, this is employed by someone with authority or power. She used her rank and stated her position very clearly. Some staff argue that the event was an award-winning signature event for the park, but she still went ahead with the cancellation, stating that a lot of money was spent on infrastructure of devil worship. She was also very firm and assertive. As mentioned earlier on by Kai Kai, a Facebook petition was actually set up to call for the return of the event. However, she stood her ground, explaining that WRS has decided to refocus their energies on organizing events that more closely reflect their focus on education, conservation, family recreation, and bonding. By employing this mode of response, she is able to make unpopular decisions very quickly, which is the sudden cancellation of this event. She is also able to address vital issues efficiently, getting her message across to her staff as well as the general public. However, the main drawback of this method is it will generate ill will. In this case, which is demonstrated by the negative response from the public as well as the staff. The public were unhappy because of the sudden cancellation, especially those who already bought their tickets. As for the staff and students, they were upset because all their hard work for the past 7 months and effort are gone down the drain. In addition, there will be loss of trust and reputation. It's that sense that consumer actually may think twice before visiting an event organized by the WRS, fearing that a repeat of this sort of cancellation will occur again. With that, I shall end my part and pass on to Justin for the next mode of response. Justin, please.
Alright, thank you, Chun Seng, for covering the competing mode of response. Hi, I'm Justin, and I'll be touching on to the collaborating mode of response as well as the accommodating mode. So before I begin, let me define what is collaborating. Collaborating is defined as working together to resolve a conflict or an issue. And to address this issue and to discuss the problem, CEO Isabella actually spoke with the principal of Singapore Polytechnic and conducted a visit to meet them personally to discuss the issue. During the meeting, she apologized to the 17 students who helped to organize the event as part of their final year project. And on the side of the school also reassured the 17 students that their grades will not be affected through this sudden cancellation of the event. Okay, moving on. In her official statement, she thanked the students for their dedications and their hard work and effort that went into planning and organizing the event. And on the last note, the CEO Isabella actually mentioned that WRS will continue to fulfill the contract with Singapore Poly by engaging the students with upcoming youth and Asian team events in the future. Okay, now I'd like to explain more about why did she use this mode of conflict management in this case. Firstly, by employing this mode of conflict management, collaborating, she's able to improve relationship with the Singapore Polytechnic. And secondly, she's able to eliminate or even minimize any misunderstandings between the affected parties. However, the drawbacks of this mode of response requires time and effort, as you can see by the CEO Isabella making personal trips to the school to actually address and discuss the issue. And last but not least, it's definitely need cooperation for both parties to establish a long-term relationship with Singapore Poly. Alright, moving on to the next mode of conflict management is accommodating. Actually, accommodating means giving ground to maintain harmony. Okay, to address the issue with the ticket holders, WRS actually promised a full refund to all the ticket holders, and in addition, a 50% Night Safari discount coupon was given for every Halloween Horror Night Safari ticket purchase. And as for the ticket winners, contest winners for the Halloween Horror Sweepstakes, they will still be awarded their prizes, and you'll be able to utilize them as regular tickets for the Night Safari. Alright, and then to restore the harmony during this tense period, CEO Isabella further mentioned that moving forward, WRS Parks will continue to hold more family-centric activities throughout the whole year. And in October, she actually mentioned that a festival centered around the Deepavali festival and event will be going to organize. Okay, now I'd like to explain why she used this mode of conflict management. Firstly, it is able to maintain harmony, and this is done by compensating the affected parties. Secondly, she's able to build trust as well as create goodwill with the public. However, the downside of it is that it may lower self-esteem, leaving the important issues unresolved. Okay, my next slides over here, let me bring the attention to you, will be this email from the CEO to one of the ticket holders. It's an evidence that we managed to find online. So actually in this email, she mentioned about competing mode of response as discussed by my colleague Chun Seng. Okay, over here, she decided to refocus the energy. So this is the reasons that she gave. And as well as a accommodating mode of response, where she mentioned about discounts, coupon, and complimentary tickets. And lastly, she also ended off by informing the ticket holder about upcoming events that WRS will be holding in throughout the whole year. Okay, with this, I shall end my part and pass over to Lincoln, who will be touching on to the case analysis and preventive measures. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Justin. Now I would like to go through the case analysis and preventive measures. So after doing a case analysis and analyzing the case study, we felt that the reason for cancellation was poor, vague, and unconvincing. So as consumers and members of the staff, you will naturally find the CEO's decision and intentions very suspicious, and this will not help to ease the tension at all. This could also lead to a long-term negative impression of WRS, and people naturally think twice before visiting the night safari or attending any of the events in future. Now, on the approach, we feel that her overall approach in managing the conflict was actually quite good. The measures taken to resolve the conflict was actually sincere, earnest, and reasonable. So this helped to reduce the tension and unhappiness to a certain extent. But of course, it cannot fully override the disappointment of the public, as well as the staff who have put in a lot of effort in preparing for the event. Also, she displayed some strong leadership qualities. When she felt that the image or reputation of WRS would potentially be damaged or tarnished, she immediately cancelled the event despite protests from the public and staff. In addition, remember that this was a money-making opportunity for WRS, but she chose to forego this golden opportunity to protect the image and reputation. Next, our team has come up with some proposed preventive measures they feel that, if used, could have prevented this entire uproar. So in the earlier stages of planning, she could have been more thorough about the details and the contents of the entire event, things like the activities, the themes, the props and artifacts used, so that she could have made necessary changes prior to confirming and publicizing the event. Alternatively, she could have carried out the event with the removal of specific segments or elements that she deemed satanic or devilish, or she felt uncomfortable with. Finally, here are some useful learning points that we extracted from the case study that could be applicable to fresh graduates. So first and foremost, you should always give a clear and honest reason for actions or decisions, either to your colleagues or your superiors, so that they can understand you and relate to it. Also, always make decisions that best protects or enhances the interests of your company or organization. And lastly, always take decisive action and devise appropriate measures quickly to resolve conflicts before the situation exacerbates further. Now I'd like to show you a video to do a quick recap on the series of events.
That's right, my pretty. I'm the new CEO of Mobile Business Singapore. I've headed several companies, and I'm a board member of many companies, including Mobile Business. I will show everyone, especially the public, how powerful I am. Early night race at Halloween Horrors, and I canceled it 2 weeks before the start of the event to all the body students can't finish their final year project. The real reason for cancelling is because Halloween worship is devil. And I told the press that is not in line with President Tony Tan's vision of family bonding and wholesome activity. I needed to bring someone down with me. Don't worry. I'm planning a deeper learning event that will have all of you coming to the zoo in hordes like bloodthirsty zombies. I will prove it to you all. I know how to lead a company into huge profits and show how I can keep a company's reputation and bright and shining and the lights on Deepavali. Deepavali!
With that, we have come to the end of our presentation. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Now I'd like to do the Q&A session.